How are you going to enforce this? I know I'm yielding to somebody over there. Tell me, how are you going to enforce this? This is an on-demand gender check that you want to be a part of now. So who's enforcing it? Is Mr. Jordan enforcing it? Mr. Gates enforcing it? Mr. Biggs? Who is enforcing this on-demand gender check? You didn't put that into the bill. Seems a little creepy that we don't know who's going to be determining genders here. Ms. Hageman, I'm deferring to you. You're the only one that wants to speak on this. It's interesting, you're the only one who wants to speak on this. No one else will even touch this because it's kind of creepy. Kind of creepy that you're setting up on-demand gender checks. Kind of obvious.
Order, are you calling me creepy?
I'm saying it's creepy that you're setting up an on-demand gender check and you won't tell us how you're going to enforce it.
May I respond to that? Will you engage in it colloquially?
Tell me how you're going to enforce it, yes.
Well, according to the U.S. boxing transgender policy, they're the ones that plan on doing the inspection. The athlete has declared that her gender identity is female and has completed gender reassignment surgery. So
how
not
do they inspect
protecting
it?
girls and women.
How do they inspect it?
Protects us. That I guess you're going to have to ask the boxing association.
Shouldn't you know? This is your
they're
bill.
the ones that have adopted the policy.
I reclaim my time. They don't know. They don't know. They see a small issue that's happening in a few communities and they want to extrapolate that across America. And they want you to think it's a thing. It's not a thing. There are things. Gun violence, fertility bans, government mandated pregnancies. Those are things. This is not a thing. Ms. Jackson-Lee, who has a bill to address the targeted violence against the transgender community, that's a thing. That's something we should be working on. This is not a thing.
Eric Swalwell really hit the nail on the head. Because when you stop to think about what these anti-trans bills mean in practice, it is beyond creepy.
I think that's generally understood. All those in
Move to strike the last word.
Oh, gentleman from California is recognized.
I guess it's a good thing that some folks on the other side are now interested in what happens in a locker room. And we're not going to look the other way, okay? I'll accept that.
My God, sometimes the universe just hands you a home run, and Swalwell hit his right out of the park.
It's amazing how strongly people feel about that. You see, I'm talking about cutting taxes, people go like that. Talk about transgender, everyone goes crazy. Who would have thought 5 years ago you didn't know what the hell it was?
Does a trans person existing affect you in any way?
When they're shoving it down our throats, yes, it does.
How are they shoving it down your throats?
Trans Day of Visibility, for example, on a High Holy Day.
That just happened to be on March 30th. It's that day every single year. It wasn't specifically because it was Easter. That's just the day it always is.
I stand by what I said.
And Donald Trump was saying a Christian. He wants to have a Christian Visibility Day. Would you like that?
Sure.
Christian Visibility Day. Do you think there should be like a national holiday just for Christians?
Why not?
It's got to be a welcome change for the country.
Absolutely.
What would be a good day for that?
Never really thought about that.
Maybe like December 25th?
This is a tiny, tiny, tiny group of people that you are trying to criminalize, essentially, make feel like they don't belong in our country. Not only is that true, it's not a thing, but on top of that, even if we were to take at face value that you care about women and girls, and I'm willing to do that. I'm willing to do that in my emotional state as a mother of a trans daughter. I'm willing to give you the right to say, all right, I care about this. Even then, why don't you listen to the National Sports Foundation that deals with sports for women and girls and what is good inclusive policy? That is what we should be doing here. And please stop talking about my emotional response to your bill. Yeah, it's emotional because you know what? There are Republican, Independent, and Democratic parents out there of trans kids. I know because I did a roundtable, a bipartisan roundtable with our former colleague, Ileana Ros-Lehtinen, about this issue. People don't want this ridiculousness, and it is deeply hurtful and harmful to our kids. Now, maybe you don't have a trans kid. Maybe nobody on this committee has a trans kid. I don't know. I think I'm the only one. But why don't you start to think about what this feels like to kids and parents across the country when you use the kind of language that you do.
This ongoing spate of anti-trans legislation isn't just affecting trans athletes, and it isn't even just affecting trans people. Gender is a social construct, and the way that people express their gender varies. MAGA Republicans claim they're fighting against misogyny by attacking trans women, and yet their arguments boil down to a deeply problematic and also very dangerous way of thinking about gender in general. Cis women who present maybe in a more masculine way have been and will continue to be attacked, including physically assaulted, as a byproduct of this trans panic. And the same, by the way, goes for men who don't fit in the GOP's arbitrary boxes. Utah, for instance, recently passed a bathroom bill requiring people to snitch on other people that they suspected of being trans. Now, the internet responded accordingly and the site was shut down after a whole world of trolling was unleashed on it. But think about what that policy would have looked like in practice. It's in effect a legal mandate to harass and possibly even attack those that you merely think might be trans. And as of right now, trans activists are currently shouldering the burden of exposing these idiots for the bigots that they are, but we all have to call out hate wherever we see it. MAGA Republicans are so determined to appease their base and get clicks on social media posts attacking the trans community that they're perfectly willing to put real lives at risk. We all have a responsibility to call transphobia out wherever we see it with whatever platform we have, and support our trans friends, and also, if given the opportunity, troll ridiculous legislation like this as hard as humanly possible.
I think that's generally understood.
Thanks for watching our video. Did you know that you can support our show by becoming a subscriber? Just click the subscribe button and also ring the bell so that you get notifications when we're live or when we post new content.